Okay guys, we're going on expedition, the Nomad expedition, which means we need to start thinking and packing like we're going on an expedition. That means lightweight and essential. So I'm going to go through the kind of stuff that we need. You've got your kit list, you can go through it, but here's the kind of details around that. First of all, casual clothes. We're not hiking and tramping through the mountains the entire time. There'll be times where we're in living rooms and huts and vehicles and you just want to wear your normal clothes. So have at it, bring a few pairs, 2, maybe 3 pairs of just casual clothes. You don't need a lot, but you need enough to, if one pair gets dirty, you can wear another pair. First of all, waterproof coat. Now, you need to not have one of those big snowboarding jackets that's super waterproof and super insulated, because the idea of hiking gear is layers. So you want your outer shell to be lightweight enough to throw in your pack, but throw on when the rain comes. But not these super flimsy running jackets. These keep the wind off, but they don't really keep the rain off. So you're looking for something kind of like this size. It's thin, but it's waterproof. Next, we've got all types of hiking clothes. So hiking clothes don't need to be super high-end brands, but they do need to be the right material. So we're thinking wool, polyester, so that sort of stuff that's not cotton, essentially. So anything that's sports gear, you could have like football gear or any of that stuff, it works. The idea is that it dries quickly. So if you're out and it rains, you don't stay wet for the rest of the entire trip. Or you're hiking and you get sweaty, and then your clothes, your cotton, just holds onto that moisture and then makes you cold. But things like, running gear, hiking gear, it's designed to dry quickly, but it's also lightweight. So thinking about that layering system, you're gonna want a t-shirt, short sleeve t-shirt, at least one of all of these things. Then you're gonna want a long sleeve, could be like a wool or something a bit more thermal. Then nice warm fleece. Then some sort of insulated jacket. So something that can still go under your raincoat, but is maybe down or a synthetic insulation. Down is great because it's super lightweight, it's extra warm, and it packs down real small. So it's the kind of best thing you're gonna get. You won't go wrong if you buy one of those. You'll use it for the rest of your life. So thinking about that, layering system. For bottoms, you're gonna want a pair of Aslan. For bottoms, you're gonna want a pair of hiking shorts and a pair of hiking trousers. Again, try and go lightweight, quick drying. Hey, if you want, you can go for those ones that are the zip-offs. They're not the most fashionable, but they do work. Next, hiking socks. So that's basically the same thing, just wool or some sort of synthetic, just not cotton. Running clothes. So yeah, something that you can just run in. So just some designated clothes. Sometimes it's quite nice to just, that stuff gets a bit sweaty and a bit stinky, so you can just designate that to running. Aslan, down. Active swimwear. So I say active because I'm personally not a fan of wearing my bikini when I go swimming on Soul Edge, because often we're doing stuff. We're jumping off rocks, we're diving down, we're climbing up waterfalls. So it's nice to have something that's gonna keep me all in place. But that is up to you. Maybe you wanna bring both. Wetsuit. So wetsuit, to be honest, we won't be using this a lot. So if you can find secondhand or a cheaper one, that's fine. It needs to be long legs, long sleeves, and basically the thicker it is, the warmer it is. So often they've got a double measurement, so it might be a 4-3 or a 3-2, which means that's the millimeter thickness of the neoprene. And often under the arms, that will be where the smaller number is. So if it's a 3-2, it'll be sort of 2 millimeters under the arms and around the crotch, and then a 3 millimeter on the chest and back. So thicker it is, the more expensive it is, but the warmer you'll be. So maybe you'll know your kind of temperature gauge. If you get cold real easy, you might want a thicker one. If you think you might use it for the rest of your life, if you want to go surfing or water sports, get a thick one. You can't go wrong. Sun hat, sunglasses, sun cream. Sun hat, you can get one of those wide brim ones or a cap. It's fine. We do have fashion standards here on Soul Edge, so please make sure your sunglasses are gangster as, and all will be well. Woolly hat and buff, goes without saying. Woolly hat, can't go wrong, keeps you warm when it's cold. Buff, it's not essential, but it's not a bad purchase. You keep it in your pack, and on a windy, cold day, it just keeps the wind from getting down your top. Or if it's real windy, you can cover up. You look awesome and keeps the wind off your face. Now, the bag situation. This is a bit confusing, but as I said, we need to keep our stuff down to the minimum because we're carrying 25 plus people's bags around the whole country. So you're gonna need a soft suitcase. So we're not really able to take those big hard case suitcases because they don't do this, they don't pack down. But soft ones, they're easy to transport about. You know, we're gonna take them in and out of the vehicles all the time. If it's the hard shell ones, they often get damaged. But if they're soft, then they just mold and they don't get damaged in transit. And then you'll have your 55 litre minimum backpack. This is actually a 40 mil, so yours will look a bit bigger than this. But essentially, this is for hiking, and then all of your other stuff, your Bible and notebook and your towel and your other shoes and all of this is going to go in your soft bag when we're not on adventures. Now, you'll need to put everything in the kit list into this bag, other than your wetsuit and your hiking pack. So all of this stuff is going to need to fit into this, and just an empty hiking bag and your wetsuit can be on the outside of it. Otherwise, we won't have enough space. Now, there's a whole bunch of other bags you kind of need, and it's a bit confusing, but if you get it right, it makes the whole experience much better. You're going to need some sort of dry bag. So if we go on an adventure and it starts to rain, which in New Zealand is very likely, it's not Australia where you haven't got sun guaranteed, you're going to need to keep your sleeping bag and your clothes dry inside your pack. So you could get one of those big dry bags like this, you shove everything in and then you shove it in your bag. They work, but they are a bit expensive. You could bring a few bin bags, throw everything in there. They don't last, you put your thumb through it and it's ruined, so it's not ideal, but much cheaper. Or you can spend $10 and get one of these survival bags or a pack liner, and you just put that in your backpack, shove everything in, and you're sorted. The ultimate, but the most heavy, is one of these super thick plastic ones. They don't break, they keep your stuff dry, but they are heavy. But they'll last forever. So those are your bag options. Then you also are gonna need a laundry sack, so you're gonna get some dirty, stinky stuff. You just need somewhere to put it. It can be a plastic bag, it can just be some random sack that you find, doesn't matter. Just somewhere to keep it separate from all your other stuff. Then it is helpful to have another just kind of small bag, like a tote bag, or one of those drawstring backpacks for throwing in your head torch or your hat, your Bible and notebook, your camera, something when we're just in the vehicles, driving around the country, or popping in and out of your bedroom or whatever. You just got this, keeps it there. You haven't got all your stuff spread out over vehicles and stuff. Footwear. So maximum you'll need to bring is 4 pieces of footwear. You're gonna need some sort of hiking boot or shoe. I say hiking boot or shoe or trail runner because you don't need something that's like super big and supportive. What you really need is just something with good tread. Boots are great. They might keep your feet more dry. They might be more comfortable over long distances, maybe not. They've got ankle support, which is good. But really what I'm looking for is something that stays on your foot well and has got good tread. So when I say stays on your foot well, you know, it's got good laces that you can tie up, and it's not all just like, it's not a slip-on that's going to flop around as you walk over difficult terrain. These are my trail runners, and I use them for everything. I use them for running, but then also hiking. They're a bit worn down now, but they've got good tread. So I double up. I don't take hiking boots and trail runners. I just take trail runners and I do my adventures in those. But then it is nice to have some sort of flip-flop or slide, something that's real lightweight, so that when you get to camp at the end of a hike, or you're in the vehicle, or you're in a hut and it's got hard wooden floors and you know, you just want to go a bit luxurious, you can just throw these on. Benefit of slides is that you can wear them with socks, but you can wear flip-flops if you want. But these are quite useful to have. And then the last thing is just a pair of shoes that you can wear in transit, in the vehicles, you know, when you're not on an adventure, just something that's you've kept dry, you've kept clean, and you can wear them normally. Running shoes, I would, you know, you can either take running shoes that are like flat soled and you have those for running, and then you've got your adventure shoe. It's up to you, but out on the adventure you need good tread and it needs to stay on your foot. Bits and bobs, right. You're gonna need a head torch. You can bring whatever you want, but the real cheap ones, basically they might be really bright, but then the batteries just die real quick. So ideally you get one that you can just plug in and recharge. It means if your batteries are low and we're out on a 2-day adventure and then you didn't bring any spares, then most of the time someone will have a rechargeable, you know, a charging block, and you can just charge it up and away you go. 1 litre water bottle. This needs to be strong and solid so that when you throw it in your pack, it's not going to get pop or explode. These bladder packs are good, but not necessary, you know, because what you really want is something that you can have on the desk as we're doing teaching, but then also throw in your pack when you go on an adventure. Travel towel. Now, these big hooded towels are real nice, they're real comfortable, they're good for getting changed and but they're bulky and they don't dry quickly. So we might get wet and then jump all in the vehicles and head on, and then we've got all these wet, soppy towels everywhere. So if you can fit it in your bag, that's okay, but you do also need one of these travel towels. Compact, lightweight, and it just dries quickly. We can throw it up on the back seat of the van or something, and it will dry as we drive. So you need a travel towel. Watch. Remember, we don't have phones on Soul Edge, so you're going to need a watch, because we're going to be saying, right, we've got 10 minutes before we leave, or you know, meet back here at 3 o'clock. You need to know the time. Now, notebooks and Bible. You need a Bible that's going to have Old and New Testament in it, because you'll be reading that all the time. And then notebooks, it's up to you what you want to do. I'm a fan of the A4 because I like to take a lot of notes. Hardcover is great because sometimes we're in the middle of a field or on a rock face, and it's nice to know that it becomes sort of easier to write on when you haven't got a table. I would recommend bringing a notebook for teaching, and then a notebook for your prayer journal and your thoughts and what's happening in your mentor sessions. Just easier to keep things separate, but up to you. If you want to use one notebook, you can. If you want a smaller A5 one, it's up to you, whatever you want. But if you know you're a big note taker, you might want to bring more than one. Some Soul Edgers do fill up a whole notebook easily. So that's that. Pens, bring a stack of pens, bring some painkillers, some blister plasters. It's just to look after yourself in that kind of way. Toiletries, I try and keep it to a minimum. This is my toiletry bag. You got toothpaste, you got toothbrush, got my contact stuff. I don't need a hairbrush, don't have that. Bit of deodorant. Try and keep it minimal. You'll know what you need, but don't have your big, all of your gubbins and everything. Keep it lightweight. Knife. Every Soul Edger needs a knife. It's up to you what you bring. You can bring a multi-tool that's got a knife on it, and also screwdrivers, and of course the handy pliers, always useful. Or you can bring a great big machete, doesn't matter, make sure you've got a knife. Optional extras, these you don't need to bring, but they can be useful. Waterproof trousers. You can get away with not wearing those because you just wear shorts or whatever, it rains, and then you get to camp and you put on dry clothes. But some people like to have them, it's much more comfortable, but I'm not going to make you buy them because it might not even rain. Walking poles, everyone thinks they're for old people, they're not. All the professionals have walking poles. If you aren't super experienced on walking on difficult terrain or crossing rivers, they can be real helpful to just keep you balanced and stable. But also if you know maybe you've got a dodgy knee, you had an injury, a sport injury or something, on these long hikes that can aggravate bad knees. Having poles is a game changer. So it's up to you. Travel pillow. We don't take around your nice bed home pillows because they don't fit and they get mucky and dirty. So most of us just take a down jacket or a sweater, use that as a pillow, but some people don't like it, so you can do some hunting around for a travel pillow. But bear in mind, try it out, because so many people have bought those travel pillows and then really it's just like a hard blow up, like it just doesn't feel comfortable and soft and nice. So have a little play around, see what you want to do. Sleeping bags. We do provide you a sleeping bag, but if you've got your real nice warm one that you love and you don't want to sleep in someone else's bag, bring it along. It's up to you. Camera. We've got no phones, so if you want to bring a Polaroid or if you want to bring a disposable one or your big old DSLR, go ahead, get some memories. We will be taking photos and share them with you, but up to you if you want to bring your own. Travel games. There's lots of downtime. Well, there's some downtime. So if you've got some Perudo dice game or some card game that you know is good, bring it along, share it. Travel mug. I love a coffee on the road. If you do too, bring one of these. We can make a coffee before we go and we can drink together. That's kind of it. Any questions, let me know, but hopefully that covers the Soul Edge Nomad kit list. Let's go on an adventure.